I feel like, there's a lot of videos out there which are very harsh on people, and they're saying, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. If you don't, it's your time, and make the best out of it.
What do you mean, like people being harsh?
Like there's everyone's a David Goggins now online. It's not that deep. Very simple, you know what I mean? Just start off with a simple walk around the park. Break yourself into it from a simple walk into the park. I don't know. Start the gym, and very small. Even if you're doing one day a week, it's better than nothing. And then slowly start building it. Don't start enjoying the process. Don't force it upon yourself, because what tends to happen is when it's forced upon yourself, you go cold turkey for everything else, and you crash and burn.
Wicked. Right, let's get started, man, while we got this going on.
Okay.
Waheed, welcome to the podcast, bro.
Welcome.
So, guys, I know you're probably wondering what's going on. Yeah. So, I am in... Where am I, bro?
Aesthetic, wellness and recovery.
Okay. And what are these things on my legs?
So what we're doing here is a compression therapy. A lot of people are familiar with the terminology is Normatec boots. So what we're doing is a lymphatic drainage. So in layman's term, what we're doing is we're draining the system of any sort of lactic acid. So you're getting like a flush massage.
Bro, I can feel it now.
You feel it now?
I can feel it now.
You feel wonderful when you're done.
Bro, if I fall asleep on this podcast, yeah. So pretty much what I'm getting now is a leg massage, innit?
Yeah, like a flush on your full legs, yeah.
So let's talk about what exactly happened. Why is this good for some? Who's it good for?
It's good for anyone, to be fair. This could be for anyone, like I says, a mom who's busy, working around the house, doing the mop and, washing up, taking the kids to school, etc. And she needs
bro.
Like this, or we're talking like an elite level athletes, like a footballer after a training session, and then people that are running, people that go to the gym after a leg workout, etc. Furthermore, there's different attachments for your arms, for people who box, people heavy with their hands or their arms, and then there's some for the back as well if you got back pain, if you work in a garage, etc. So yeah, they could work for anyone and everyone.
I'm just thinking, imagine if you got high blood pressure.
It's pretty much feels like a high blood pressure machine.
It feels like that on my legs, and it's like
your legs,
yeah. And it feels nice because right now, like I don't know why it's doing my
so what it does, it'll go up and then it'll come back down.
Okay.
Like a massage.
I ain't gonna lie, it feels nice, bro.
Good.
Mashallah. And so this room that we're in, this is all for recovery.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically the facilities we're in today is aesthetic, wellness, recovery and fitness. This is a concept first of its kind in the whole of UK. So what we have here is a hot yoga studio, which goes up to anything up to from 35 to 40 degrees of heat. Hot yoga, people may not be familiar with yoga even. Yoga, people thinking you're just probably sitting there and you're meditating and you're doing stuff like that. But
to be honest, I don't really know too much about yoga.
Yoga in itself is possibly the most demanding kind of exercise which I've ever done. And I've done a lot,
You know what's crazy? Because you've done, for everyone that knows Waheed, you've been in bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding, very successful, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
From the last podcast I came on, I was saying to you that was pre-lockdown. After lockdown, alhamdulillah, I was very successful. I won probably the biggest show in the country, PCA Midlands, and I bowed out and I said I'm retiring.
Mashallah.
And then, I've boxed, I signed professionally. I've been in all sorts of sports, but...
So for you to say that yoga's more demanding than that?
Very demanding.
Yeah.
Very, very, very demanding.
In like what way? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't really know too much about yoga. But from the little that I do know, it's just, I'd say it's a bit of stretching.
Yeah, so you can say it's a stretching, but the beauty about yoga is it's not sport. So it's not competitive, but it's a battle with yourself. It's how far you want to take it and how grueling you want to make it for yourself. So when they say go into a certain stretch, if you feel like you can go into a deeper stretch, you go into that stretch, and bear in mind all your stabilizers, your ankles, your toes, your feet, everything's engaged now. Your core's engaged and you've got to hold that for 2 minutes. Your body's shaking. You don't know what to do now. That's where you've got to get your breathing right, etc. Me, like I said, I'll measure everything. I've got my walk band on now. And in anything between 45 minutes to an hour, I do between 510 and 600 calories in a hot yoga session. So that's more than an hour and a half on the treadmill.
So you're burning a lot of calories.
You're burning a lot of calories.
So I'm assuming it's also good for weight loss then?
Really good for weight loss, really good for, like I says, coordination, really good for balance, really good for strength, because bear in mind, everything's your body weight. And me, 100 kilos, holding certain poses and stuff, you look very awkward compared to some of the people in there because they're amazing.
Flexible.
I'm bottom of the food chain at this moment in time, but I will get better.
Early days, isn't it?
But like I says, there's like the gym or like anything else. I always say, know your levels. know your lane. So like I says, I know my level and I stay in my lane. And obviously it's a battle with myself, and I'm always trying to get better, improvement.
So what's like the difference now that we're on the topic? I know we're going to go into a lot more, because I know you've been on the podcast before. For anyone that's watching for the first time, he's been on the podcast before. We had a sick discussion. It was a really good podcast. I enjoyed it. So this is like part 2 of that, and it's been a long time since we've had you on the podcast. I think it was like 2 years ago. I think roughly.
I think it was longer than that.
Yeah, and a lot's happened.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, your business expanded. A lot of life events and even world events that have happened since then. So we can go a little bit deeper into that. But again, we're in one of Waheed's newest ventures, mashallah, and again, Hot Yoga Studios, one of those.
So there's a Hot Yoga Studio. Obviously, we do ladies only classes as well, which I think is a must for the society we're living in currently. So we do boxercise for ladies, all women instructors. We do like the legs, bums and tums. We do the body conditioning, and then we've got a functional fitness gym as well. With a functional fitness gym, like I said, there's group classes of, like I said, up to 15 people together. Or we do the S&C sports specific work with top end athletes. We've had Hazmat Chimaev here, doing some work. So we're talking top end athletes. And then obviously we've got the recovery area here as well, and with the functional area as well. Like I said, we've got a system in play like the polar systems. So for instance, if you're working on there, I'm working on there, and just say Steve's working on there, with the system we'll have it on the TV in terms of what zone you're in. So if you're telling me you're mashed but your heart rate's telling me you're not mashed, you're not working hard enough, be able to tell that. And then furthermore, how many calories you're burning, etc. So yeah, everything's measured.
So you guys basically have upped the levels.
Yeah, I'd like to think, alhamdulillah.
And even just looking at it, sitting from here, mashallah, you can tell that you've not really cut any corners. And like you said, you've had a lot of people in here. What's the feedback been since they've?
I don't ever want to take anything for granted, but because I've been in here over the last we've only been open 2.5 weeks, so I'm probably taking it for granted. But every time somebody comes in here, whether it's a normal, your mom, your auntie, or your friend, or a normal gym person, or to the elite, we've always had the same feedback that this is some top facilities. We've got lots of stuff in here. Like I said, we've got our own little clinic in here, so we do your blood work. So we do up to 42 counts in terms of if there's any deficiency in your vitamins, if there's has your testosterone, if you're women, your estrogen, your iron, your calcium, your liver, all that sort of stuff. We do that for you also. We do your food intolerance, so we know what foods suit your body and what's good for you. So very simple, like, if it's something suitable for you in terms of your digestive system, it would be a green. If you could get away with it, it'd be an orange. And if it's no good for you and your body's it's not good for you, it's not reacting the way, it'd be a red. And then obviously we do the full IV drips as well for all that aspect. And in the recovery area, obviously we've got 3 physios who work under here. So we do the whole sports massage, we do the normal massages, we do injury rehab work, we do Graston therapy, we do hijama, we do dry cupping, we do sports taping, we do what you're on here now, compression therapy. We've got, I
like it.
You like it, yeah. We've got the cryotherapy chamber, which is a top piece of kit. We've got the cold plunge, which we've got specifically made for ourselves, so we're the only people with this. And then we've got the infrared sauna also.
Okay, there's a few things that I want to dig deeper into a little bit just from what you've said. But before that, you mentioned the cryo chamber. I've heard about cryo before, very briefly. What is cryo? So you're basically in a chamber, and from what I know, you're just surrounded by cold.
Yeah, so in essence, what it is, it's nitrogen oxide.
Okay.
So when people do balloons, it's that.
Okay.
So that's what it is. So obviously it's not one canister, but it's like a big canister, you know what I mean? And every time you jump in it, obviously you're saying you're feeling minus 180 degrees. And what that is, obviously circulating around your body. And while that's circulating in your body, I'll break it down in very simple terminology. So like your body will have a fight and flight kind of reaction. And what will happen is the blood will rush straight to your vital organs, so your heart, your liver, your lungs, and any sort of dead cells will get replenished.
Can you ever go into like shock if you go into that? Like, let's just say if I just jumped into it, yeah?
But this would be me as a professional, making sure obviously you do a PAR-Q, we do a waiver form, we see if you're fit in order to do it. But the benefits of that are endless. Do you know what I mean? Not just for physical benefits, but for your mental health, for skin rejuvenation. I've had yesterday I had a client in, and it was quite nice, to be fair. I've had a client come in yesterday, who's involved in a car accident, and he came in with his 2 brothers, and he was struggling to walk. Obviously, he's come out from a car accident, and I put him in the cryo chamber simply to just rejuvenate some sort of cells and kickstart his recovery. And he only did a minute and a half, and when he came out, I swear to God, he nearly touched his shins, and he couldn't walk in before he left. So it's pretty amazing.
Okay, and then you've also got the cold.
Yeah, the cold plunge. So the cold plunge, it may look like a jacuzzi to people because initially it was a hot tub, but we work with a company called Rotor Spa, so hold tight Rotor Spa.
It does look like a hot tub.
Yeah. So basically what they've done is a usual ice bath, you go to anything between 15 to 13 degrees. That's with 20 to 30 kilos of ice. And 20 to 30 kilos of ice, is a lot of ice, so it is cold. We've got ours set at 5 degrees. So it's
okay.
3 times colder than an ice bath with 30 kilos of ice. But
wait, so ice bath is 15 degrees?
Anything between 15 and 13 is what an ice bath should be at.
And I'm assuming that's very cold.
Yeah,
then.
It's very cold.
And then you guys have got it at 5.
At 5 degrees.
Which is extremely cold.
It's extremely cold. But the benefit about ours as well is because when you're sitting in an ice bath, remember you're sitting in it, so your body temperature will surface around that area, and it will probably go from 15 to 16, or it will stay at that level.
Okay.
But with ours, obviously, we've got these jets which continuously pump, and then it's going to.
So you're feeling it. You're feeling it
the whole time.
And
for
the
mental well-being, it's amazing.
Yeah, because I've seen people talk about it. It's like a online phenomenon where these ice baths.
Yeah.
People are putting it in their bins and they're putting ice in it, and they're doing that. And I know it also helps with like anxiety because it helps you like kind of be a bit more mindful of what state you're in.
It's a big challenge, to overcome a challenge the first thing in the morning. And I've been living by these for a while. You've probably seen my Instagram. I've been doing it for 6-7 years ago.
Quick one, guys. Just want to quickly mention my business, Eddge.com. It's a creative agency. If you guys need any help with your website, web design, if it's a new project or an existing one, we can definitely help. Or if you need any assistance with your social media marketing, we can also help with that as well. So all the details are in the description below. So if you guys are interested, just reach out to me and we can discuss your project in further detail. But up until then, we'll get back to the podcast. So it's not a myth, because I know there's also a lot of people that say, it's a myth. And
No.
Blah,
So
blah,
it does
blah.
produce, like I says, in terms of dopamine levels when you come out of there, wicked. And like I says, in terms of like a very basic scientific thing, what do they always say when you've had a knock? Rest, ice, compression, elevation. You're getting the compression there. Before that, you'll rest. So before that, obviously, you get your ice, then you compress, and what you're doing while you elevated it as well. So we've done the whole rice treatment while you sat here.
I'm loving this. I'm not gonna lie. This is chilling. I could do this every day. And how often would you recommend someone doing this? Is it depending on activity level? I'm assuming.
Depending on activity level, but then there's various reasons why you'd want to use it. Do you know what I mean? I could be probably having a proper, completely rubbish day, so I could say, you know what, I want to get my head in the game and jump in the cold plunge.
You're
and
probably
then
loving
dopamine
it.
levels through the roof. Bam! You feel like you've had a hit.
You're probably in it all the time, and really.
Twice a week.
Yeah.
Twice a week.
And then you've got the sauna as well.
Yeah, you got the infrared sauna in itself as well.
What do you mean infrared sauna? Like, what's the difference?
So it's not a cold one, it's infrared. It's a lot better for your skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot more cleaner.
Okay. And so when we last spoke, you just had the gym and a few other businesses that were related around the gym. Since then, mashallah, very recently you've opened this. What pushed you to open this anyway? Is it something that you just want to like build and it keep expanding, or like what inspired you to open this anyway?
Obviously, I'd like to say, alhamdulillah, the brand aesthetic's been growing over the last 10 to 15 years. We've had the meal prep company, which was very, very, very successful. But like I said, we're on a podcast, let's keep it real and raw, but it was just too much for me to do with. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was too much.
What, the meal prep?
Yeah, the meal prep was...
Is that finished now?
Yeah, I had to close it because it was just too much for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Because, you're getting, like I says, anything between 500 to 1,000 orders in a week. And it's not just about the chefs are cooking it and then they're getting delivered, etc. But you're a client, you want yours at a specific measurement, to get that done. And then you'll get asking me for the diet, then I'm relaying that to the chef, and the chef's got to make sure it's done towards you. It was a lot for me to... And there were the days... the cooking days, obviously, on a Wednesday and a Saturday. And then the Wednesday, Saturday are usually the days where I'm with the boxing club.
Okay.
Thought,
a lot to juggle.
Yeah. And then I thought, what it is? You're chasing so much, you need to spend time with your family, you need to do this. So, yeah, I just says...
you can run yourself to the ground doing that as well. Like, obviously we all think we're invincible when it comes to like business and we can take on whatever, but there does get to a point where you know what, you're taking on too much. Because I remember your meal prep, and I was a client of yours, and bro, I remember the food was banging. In comparison, I won't mention any names, but there was a few there's like 2 other meal prep companies that I used, and yours was like the nicest one.
Yeah,
like, it's the food that you could actually look forward to eat.
Yeah, you know, like I said, dieting don't have to be so like it just says just a plain chicken and rice. There's various, you know, just vary it up and make it sustainable long term.
Any plans to bring it back eventually?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Yeah,
1,000,000%.
Because at the moment, like for example, me, I know again since we had you on the podcast, I started training with you for a little bit, and as you can tell, I kind of fell off a little bit. Yeah. But inshallah, you know, I'm gonna get back onto it, and that was another thing that I wanted to discuss. Like, so my diet is really boring at the moment. It's chicken and rice, pretty much. I had a nutritionist on the podcast, which is, I don't know if you probably know a bit more about it, but he goes, rice, stay away from it.
Yeah, but see, there's another guy on Instagram now. He's a guy of Afro-Caribbean heritage.
Okay.
Abu Adi. I don't know. He just says, don't eat anything other than eggs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. So
if you're gonna find a study, you'll find a study for anything which is right for you and wrong for you. But it's gonna be very difficult to live in the current climate and the current society we're living in, to have plant-based food, homegrown, which is going to be specifically made for you continuously. So it's going to be too hard.
Yeah, so obviously, ideally, you know, we all want raw, organic food that we could grow in our back garden.
That we could grow in our back garden, but can we actually do that?
Yeah, and realistically speaking.
Yeah, you're going to need a farm in essence.
Yeah.
And the amount of chickens I go through, you're going to need a big farm. You know?
Are you still PTing? Are you still personal training?
I'm coaching. Yeah. So basically, this is something I love. It's a passion. You know what I mean? I do a lot of online stuff, which I prefer.
You prefer the online stuff?
I prefer the online. However, if there's someone who I feel like needs a proper push, and I'm motivated to get out of bed for, then I'm going to do that. Yeah.
So are you still taking like in-person clients, but you prefer the online and whatnot?
Yeah.
I think I preferred being in person, you know.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably one of those.
Yeah, some people do.
Because I remember actually, coming to think of it, there was one session and we was working on legs. And what's that machine?
Hack squat.
Bro. I think it was, you were saying we're going to do 5 sets to 20 or something like that. And it sounds easy. But bro,
all the session was 5 sets of 20.
Yeah, that was it, And I remember saying to you, bro, I'm going to drop. He was like, go on, then drop. I couldn't do it. The days where it just makes me want to get back into it, to be fair. But now that we're speaking about it, if there's people out there that are probably struggling, like to kind of get out of bed and just kind of get into the gym, what advice would you give to them people?
You know, I feel like, you know, there's a lot of videos out there which are very harsh on people, and they're saying, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. You know, it's your time, and make the best out of it.
What do you mean, like people being harsh? Like,
you know, like there's, you know, everyone's a David Goggins now online, or you know, or Bear Grylls. You know, it's not that deep. Do you know what I mean? Very simple, you know what I mean? Just start off with a simple walk around the park. Do you know what I mean? Break yourself into it. From a simple walk into the park, I don't know, start the gym, and, you know, very small. Even if you're doing one day a week, it's better than nothing. And then slowly start building it. Don't start enjoying the process. Don't force it upon yourself. Because what tends to happen is when it's forced upon yourself, you go cold turkey for everything else and you crash and burn.
I think I do that. I think I'm like an all or nothing type of person where...
But remember, not everyone's built like that. Do you know what I mean? If we're looking at the broad of everyone, like I says, some people will love that. Yeah. But a lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't. And I think I'm starting to learn that. Like, for example, my diet, I'm like, from this day, I'm not eating no crap, no nothing. And then I might have a weak moment, but then from that moment, I'm finished. Gone. Yeah, everything's gone. And then I'll kind of justify having that extra biscuit.
But then if you was to do, you know what it is? Monday to Friday, I'm going to eat clean.
Yeah.
Saturday, from morning to afternoon, I'm going to eat clean. With the evening, I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat. Sunday, I'll have a 70% day. And then Monday to Friday, you clean again. You'll be able to do that for the rest of your life.
What works for you?
That's what I do. I'm
Is
not
that what you do?
competing for nothing, you know what I mean? So I'll eat Monday to Friday clean. Up until the evening on a Saturday, I'll eat clean. Saturday, in the evening, I'll eat whatever I want to eat.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, I'll have a 70% day. And then back to normal. It's sustainable. Alhamdulillah, I like to think I'm in good shape and I'm fit. And, you know, so, and it's long term, it works.
So you start competing fully now?
Yeah, I did say to myself, after I win that show, I'm going to be done. So after I won that show, I says, I'm done.
So are you actually done then?
I say that, but
You
I've
do
always
get
got
to-
the
yeah,
itch. I've
yeah,
always
yeah.
got the urge.
What is it about bodybuilding? Because I've always wanted to know. Because bodybuilding in itself, from what I've heard, there's money. There's not much money to be made.
No,
So
there's
it's not. It's
zero
not
money
like
in it.
it's not money.
If
thing,
anyone's
is it?
telling you they're doing bodybuilding for money, they're lying to you. There's no money in bodybuilding.
Yeah. So what is it then?
Just
Just
suppose it's a challenge, it's
competitiveness.
a battle with yourself.
Battle, yeah.
And I respect anyone that does do bodybuilding. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'll be a hypocrite to say, bodybuilding's no good. But at the same time, I can say that because I've done it and I've done it at the best level. So it's it's whatever pleases you, and if that's making you the best version of yourself, then 100% go do it. But don't get drawn into it too
Who's
much.
that? I can't remember his name now. But you know that black guy that was a world champ and now he can barely walk or something.
Dorian Yates. No, sorry, not Dorian Yates. Ronnie Coleman.
Like
Ronnie Coleman.
how come he's in that state? Because if you look back, like he was massive in shape. That doesn't necessarily mean healthy, does it?
Bodybuilding itself is not healthy. Bodybuilding is probably the most unhealthy sport you could do.
Yeah.
Because like I said, if you're going to like 2, 3, 4% body fat, it's not healthy at all. It's not healthy at all. It's very, very unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, very unhealthy.
See, that
So
scares
physically
me a
you
little
look the
bit.
best.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Aesthetically you look the best, but
Aesthetically, you look like Superman.
Yeah, but in terms of your physical attributes, you're not the best at all.
And I know there's like a taboo when it comes to like bodybuilding and steroids and all that. Is steroids something that you have to do? Because
there's plenty of natural bodybuilding shows as well.
Yeah.
There's plenty of natural bodybuilding shows.
Yeah, because I'd be too scared to take that stuff, man.
Yeah, but same like I says, there's enough people out there to guide you in the right way and how to take them. But then ask yourself, why are you taking them?
Yeah.
Why are you
There's
taking
a way
them?
to take them,
There's
isn't
a way
there?
to take them, you know what I mean? Like I says, TRT now, you know what I mean? Massive people live by it.
Yeah.
HGH, people live by it, they take it.
Yeah.
But if they do everything properly, it's there for a benefit. It's called it's called a performance enhancer for a reason, because it's going to enhance your performance. But people are starting to take performance enhancers before they even can get the normal base layer.
Yeah.
What I mean?
And it still takes a lot of graft, I suppose.
It takes double the work. Once you're on some sort of performance enhancers, you've got to be working as twice as hard as someone who's not on performance enhancers.
Well, I don't get that.
Because same like I says, if you're, I'll break it down in simple terms. You know what I mean? Like I says, if you're putting in 200 gram of testosterone, I'm not saying no numbers in general. I'm just
just like rough example.
So if you're putting 200 gram of testosterone in your body, which is not used to having on a normal base, on a normal day-to-day life, but now you're putting 200 gram in every day, you've got to make sure you're working that 200 gram. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can't just be sitting around.
You can't just be sitting around, because then it's just oil in your body.
Yeah, it is quite crazy, to be honest. And to be fair, I know a few people that are on it. And what scares me as well is when they stop training, they just look like they're full of water.
That's would be different types of performance enhancers. Yeah, that would be different.
I'm probably talking about something else.
So steroids, so that would be different types of steroids. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's 42 different types of testosterone. You know what I mean? So, what testosterone are they taking? Why are they taking it? You know what I mean? It could be a cypionate, which is full of water. It could be a sustanon, which is full of water. Or it could be an enanthate, which is very slow releasing, and could be a lot of benefits behind it.
Okay, I'm 34 now, yeah? Nearly 35, inshallah. For someone like me now, I've been training on and off, more often on recently. Can I still get into shape?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Can I still look as good as I could be? Like, could I still have a beach body? Because I feel as if, and this is just me, the older you get, a lot more affects you. So obviously, eat like back when I was younger, bro. I could eat anything,
you and I was still, a lot of stuff. Yeah,
and I could still look decent.
However, to look aesthetically better, there's nothing holding you back. You could be in the best shape of your life, even at 50.
Okay, so it's still possible.
Yeah. But in terms of physical attributes, then obviously you're not going to be able to run as fast. You're not going to be able to recover as good unless you come in here. But in terms of physically, you 1,000,000% can. But then, like you're saying, it's up to you how disciplined you want to be and how far do you want to take it. But don't do these short-term fads that I need to do it in 10 weeks. Do you know what I mean? So say to yourself, over the next year, I'm really going to do it like this.
Okay, that's like the perfect thing, because we've just started 2024. We're still in January, the first month. So if anyone's looking to get fit, you can use this as an example of use this year to kind of have that goal to be in the best shape as possible by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think you're right, because I'm that person that will say, okay, for the next 90 days, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I want to look the best. And then,
but then what you do after the 90 days?
Yeah, it's not sustainable then, is
Yeah,
it?
that's what I'm saying. So, it's better to just do something which, like I says, if you're doing Monday to Friday, Saturday you're having a little cheat at the end, and then Sunday you're doing 70, you could do that for the full year. Because then the craving will always go, because on a Saturday I'm still going to have a fat dessert and a kebab meat and chips. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because, you got to enjoy your food as well, innit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want to be like in a position where you can still enjoy life.
I heard like this 80-20 rule where you say 80%, or like I think you were saying 70% eat good, and then the rest just kind of enjoy yourself and have that kind of balance, I suppose, innit?
And then, like I said, it's sustainable over long term as well. And then you're good to go with everything else as well. You know what I mean? You're not neglecting yourself from family affairs. You're not neglecting yourself from business work, because it just take it out of you.
I suppose like it's probably a big difference for you, like when you compete.
And you know what I mean? This could be, like I said, very detrimental to me, because all I'm about is fitness. Yeah. I'm saying being real and raw to you. Like I said, there's got to be a balance to everything.
But I think that's why people respect you in the industry. People respect you for being their coach, because you're not bullshitting them. And I think people appreciate it. I'm one of those people that will appreciate it as well, where, as long as you're real with me and you're not bullshitting me, and I think people can see that. Yeah. Bro, you know what it's like online. People are just saying things for clicks and likes and views, and not telling you how it is. Yeah, they're just telling you what you want to hear.
Real with everything what you do. Yeah. There's a saying, and keep it. What's the word? I may not be liked by everyone, but I always keep it real. That's why I sleep at night.
Jeez, I like that actually. Yeah, that's quite. And I think in this day and age, with the state of social media, I think now people can see authenticity. So if you're authentic to yourself, people appreciate that more now. You know what I mean?
Social media is another topic, you know what I mean? Could be here all day speaking about that.
So yeah, I know we spoke a little bit off camera, but again, social media. I was saying to you, like, I remember days without social media, and I kind of missed those days. The only type of social media that we had was like MSN. You come back from school, college, wherever, jump on MSN, chat to your boys for a bit, and then call it a day, and then jump outside, chill with the boys. Now it's, I don't know, man, it's good and bad. Social media is good and bad, isn't it?
Yeah, social media is good and bad, but I feel like now social media's, it's giving a platform to people who don't deserve a platform. Without sounding horrible, but that's what it is. Now on social media, you could be whoever you want to be, and nobody could tell you nothing. So you could be a white belt, but you could say you trained with Bruce Lee, and nobody's saying nothing to you. Now, don't let that one go over your head. A white belt, but you're going on like Bruce Lee. So social media is, in essence, that. You could go on there, put David Goggins' speech in the background, put that, that filter where the captions come up nice and slow, put instrumental music on the background, and you running in black and white, and that's it. You're a beast, man. Do you know what I mean? Because
you look like a movie. You look like a movie.
Because you made that video. Do you know what I mean? But in reality, you'd see these people on a day-to-day life, and you'd think, well, what is going on?
There's also people online on social media that, I don't know how to say this without being as respectful as I can. They basically make a fool of themselves, yeah? And it seems as though they're doing it intentionally. But ultimately, they are getting the attention they want. There's people on TikTok now that will be swearing at each other's moms. Yeah. That will be literally making a fool of themselves. But yet, the view counts are high. They're probably making a little bit of money. Like, what's your view on that? Me personally, how can you just... I always say, if you rate that because they're making a bit of money, you might as well sell your ass on the street, bro. That's literally what I say.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. With me, I've got strong beliefs on that. In terms of we're to blame for it, for giving them the platform, in terms of engaging back with them sort of people. Like I says, people have got a platform who don't deserve a platform. You're doing all this madness, and like I says, me and you still kind of grown up enough to realize there's a clan, but then you'll see other people who are seeing it. Oh, that's funny. It get shared, etc. You probably see the same person at an event, and you say, "I can take a picture with you." Do you know? And then you're giving them that same thing, and then these guys will sit on there because, like I says, the dopamine effect in it. They'll do anything for a like and a comment on any social media post.
No, I'm all up for building your brand online, but having a laugh and a joke.
Yeah, it's got to be in a respectful manner, and I don't want to go too deep on this, but it is quite deep. So just look at your social media. If you was to die tomorrow, would you be happy with that? Your social media page. That's what everyone's gonna remember you for. Your last post on social media.
You know what's mad? You said that. I don't know if you know him actually. There's a guy called Imran who recently passed away. He was quite well known in the community. And I spoke to him not long ago. He was someone that was going to get onto the podcast. Very humble brother. I think he was 1 year or 2 years older than me, 36 years old. He was very successful at one point, and I think COVID and stuff he had a little bit of a hit. And mashallah, the way he was building his life back up and his businesses back up was actually inspiring. And he invited me down to his showroom, and then he was building a showroom in Dubai. The guy had a heart attack, bro.
Yeah, I seen that.
And I know the people that do know this brother, very genuine brother.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
And at least he can look back. Obviously we all got to answer to Allah at the end of the day, yeah. But he was respectful to everyone. He wasn't backbiting, or he wasn't producing stupid content that he's not going to be able to. So that point that you made, like looking back at your content, if you was to die today, can you look back at your content? That's deep,
Yeah, if you look at stuff like that, then you'll always be wary in terms of what you're posting. And when you are posting something, just ask yourself, what is the purpose of this post? So like he says, building your brand. So is that going to build my brand? Okay, if it is, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Is this going to get me a client in? Okay. Is this going to bring some money from my gym? Yeah. Does it make sense? Is this going to give anyone some sort of knowledge? Then yeah. Is this going to motivate anyone in any form or way to do good? Then yeah. But if it's just for, I don't know, you're in a club and you're popping bottles, what is that for? Do what you're doing. Everyone does what you got to do. But what is that proving?
Yeah.
What is that proving?
I think, like you said, us.
And I'm not talking about the younger generation. I'm talking about the older generation now.
I think, like you said, yeah, the young generation and the older generation, anyone can be a victim of it. Like, I think it's that dopamine hit that you get from, if you were to post something stupid online, you get a couple of likes, get a couple of views, you get a little bit of a dopamine hit. It's an addiction at that point. Now, you're sacrificing your respect, even your family's respect at that point.
Yeah, of course. But then you're saying that, but I've seen full-on families on TikTok.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean?
Without mentioning any names,
you know what I mean?
Without
mentioning, want to give clout to certain individuals, but it is what it is. Look like the likes of like Mummy 23. You know what I mean?
Stuff.
You know what I mean?
I don't get it though, bro. Like, when I see, it's shocking to me, because my elders, I've been brought up to respect your elders. Now, if I was to see any of my elders doing something like that, I'll be the first one to say, look, auntie, please, as much as you're getting your views up and everything, you don't understand how many people are laughing at you, not with you. What are you getting out of it? I don't get it.
What they should do, they should ban them from the community. That may sound a bit harsh, but they should get banned from the community. You can't go to the local shop. You can't do this. You can't do that. It may sound a bit extreme, but you know what I mean? That would probably sort a few things out.
I'm just thinking, how can that even happen in the first place? Like, where are your family members to put? Because look, I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I'm sure you're saying you're not perfect.
We're all sinners in our own way.
I'm sure there's going to be probably moments where I've probably said something on the podcast that was probably wrong, or I probably will say something in the future that's wrong. But if I haven't got people around me to put me in check and say, yo, Abs, like I posted something, I won't say exactly what it was. It was about 2 years ago, and I posted something on my Facebook page, and one of the brothers reached out to me and said, bro, you know what, like, you can't say that. How do you get classes in here anyway? Like, okay, so I'm thinking from a business perspective, yeah, you've opened this, mashallah, you put in the elbow grease, you put in the grind, you put everything together. I'd say that's probably the easy part, and that's not trying to cut out your hard work. I'm on about the hardest part is running it now, getting people through the doors, getting memberships in. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? For me,
that is the easiest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that because you've got a brand?
Not even because I got a brand, because I trust in what I have, and that's in terms of one, the facilities, one, the people that are running the classes, and thirdly, the knowledge. Do you know what I mean? And alhamdulillah, like I said, you can probably go to the front of the class now. There's a women's box size going, and there'll be no space left in that class. Fully booked.
But you're saying that's the easy part.
You come to the hot yoga class at 7:30, and you're going to be here 7:30, you'll clock in, you'll be fully rammed. Do Do you know what I mean? I had to cap the numbers from the hot yoga. It was we was getting like numbers of like 25, 26, but I've capped it now to 20, so people get the best experience in that hot yoga class.
Fair play, because again, I'd say that's probably the hardest part of a business is running it, maintaining it, building it, growing it.
If your product's good, it will be real. And if your product's good, it will always do well. Don't rush it. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So if you start forcing it, then you're going to sell yourself short. Trust your product.
Let me ask you a question then. You know, if you weren't online, as in Waheed Aesthetic, your personal brand, do you reckon it will still be as successful as it is now?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Because once you come into that hot yoga studio, bear in mind, I done hot yoga the first time 5 years ago. I did it in a place in Jewelry Quarter, and I thought, wow, that place is good. You know what I mean? And I went back there, not because of social media, because the place was good. Now I've had instructors there. I've had 5 different instructors. I've had an instructor called Rob. I can mention his name. I've got an instructor called Irene. I can mention her name. Potentially the best instructors in the country, ballerinas, etc. They've come in here and they said this is the best hot yoga studio in the country. They've been doing it for 20 years. And now all their clientele have moved here as well. And when they've come in here, they've had no problem. Do you know what I mean? I put a lot of work in terms of the ambience, the lighting, the mood. These sort of things go unnoticed. But when you're training, it's got to be a mood. It's got to be an ambience. You realise we're in a chilled, we're in a recovery area. It's blue. Don't let that go over your head. There's greenery, recovery. You go into the hot yoga room, it's all dimmed. It's a different atmosphere. You go into the functional area, it's bright LEDs and it's black. It's time to work. You know, these are little things. Don't let them go over your head.
That's an interesting point.
Small things make the biggest impact.
You know, from maybe a normal customer that'll come in, they won't understand, okay, look, you've used blue lights, but you've done it intentionally. You've used, I don't know, there'll be, even I probably won't really understand, but you will know exactly why you've done. Everything's intentional.
Yeah.
You go into the yoga room, there's probably things in there. For me, I'll probably, in my subconscious, will recognize it.
Okay, there's plants, etc. Even when you're walking up now, like I said, you probably never noticed, but you will, like I says, later on, you're walking up, you're walking into the recovery side. There's the full human anatomy, which I've got hand drawn on the right-hand side. So even if you're not thinking about it, you can look at it and you can know that I'm walking to a recovery room because you've already seen a picture of a foot with all the muscles, you've seen the body. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes.
A lot of psychology in it. There's a lot
Small
of
things make the biggest impact, and they say, don't cut no corners or you lose the edge. Think about that one.
Oh, you're dropping the gems today, bro. There was something interesting that we were talking about earlier.
We were talking about the Mummy 23 and the social media aspect.
Oh yeah, back to the social media aspect. The reason why I wanted to bring this up, because I always have this type of conversations with my boys and I always find it interesting because, you know, a lot of people can argue, but they're making money. They're getting attention and all this, but you're making a fool of yourself. And that's always been my argument. And I think you agree with me on that.
I totally agree with you on that aspect. You know, there's plenty of ways to make money. And then, like I said, I don't want to go too deep, but same, you know what I mean? I'm not better than anybody else. But, you know, we're made to believe our risk is written in it. So whether you to make £1 million or whether you used to make £100, it's going to come to you regardless. So whether you're going to do that in a way where you're going to be patient and go through trials, etc., and it's going to come to you regardless, or you're going to go on OnlyFans and sell some sort of pictures and get it that way, it's going to come regardless. But for me, like I says, respect, morals and loyalty, them 3 things you can't, you know, don't match. You can lose everything, but if you've got them 3 things, you'll always be up.
Those 3 things you can't just buy either, innit?
Nah. They earned over your lifetime.
What would you say though, if people are sort of, because look, alhamdulillah, we're kind of old enough to realize and recognize, yeah, they're making a fool of themselves. That's not something that I want to do. You know, people, look, your type of content, you're providing value, which is why people follow you. So your audience is going to be a specific type. What would you say to the youngsters that are probably, because they're not going to be aware, they're just going to be brought into the world where social media, making a fool of yourself is like the next thing to do.
It's a norm, you know what I mean? But this is where you will let the younger generation know to learn a craft. So once you know your craft, regardless, you know your craft. Like I says, you know, I know my facilities, I know my product. So whether it's gonna bang today, tomorrow, the day after, or next year, it will bang because I know it. So you know your craft. Wherever you know it and you're knowing your craft and you can talk about it, it will bang. Because the real always come through, the cream always rises to the top.
I like that, man. I like that. What would you say like the hardest thing about everything has been? So look, if you reflect back on the many years that you've been in business. So how old were you when you first opened your gym?
Initially, like my business background came from obviously PTing. Obviously, I was at uni. From uni, obviously, I got I never got my what's the word? You know when you're at uni and you get money, not student finance, but you get the other one. Scholarship. So I used to play football for the uni team as well. I never got it for 2 years. In my third year, they banged me flipping like 9 bags in my account. So what I did, I went and bought a burger trailer. I went and bought a burger trailer. I put another 3 bags in. I put it on Wellsbourne Market, and I was selling burgers and kebab meat and chips. And like I says, you're not selling them for £2 like Big John's or nothing. You're selling them for like £8-9. So that was my first like business venture.
How old were you then?
Second year at uni.
Okay, fair play.
Second year at uni. Prior to that, obviously, you do your hustles at college, which is DVD burning, etc. But, these are little things which you could talk about. But then, like I said, I don't want to be on a podcast and say how hard my life was a struggle, etc. You know what I mean? Because it becomes very repetitive. And I'm just saying...
It becomes repetitive, but I think I always like to highlight it because, again, I'm always mindful of the audience. And I know a lot of the youngsters watch it. And I know especially your audience... they're probably a bit more older and whatnot, but our audience are a bit younger. So I like to highlight because business is tough, man. Nothing comes easy.
Yeah, business is very tough. Anyone that tells you business is easy is probably not telling you the truth. Do you know what I mean? Like I says, I've had days in the gym when I've not made no money. I've had days in the gym when I've done like 10 grand.
But let me be honest with you, yeah. Like if from an outside perspective, let's just say I didn't know you, and I'm looking at your journey and whatnot. It seems as though, like it's Waheed, of course he's gonna have something like this. Is nice, like, but in reality, you've grafted.
Oh yeah.
Like he was telling me off camera, like you were here all day and night.
Yeah, behind the scenes, you know what I mean. I've got people that know me personally. You know what I mean. I'd come here at 6 o'clock, and I wouldn't leave till like 2-3 a.m. at night. I'd be stuck here with the builders, making sure they're getting their food. You know what I mean. Like recently, I won Birmingham Awards Community Champion of the Year, and in between the break, I was coming back here, making sure the builders have all right. Then I'd go back, I got my award in my 3-piece suit. I sat with them, making sure everything's done. Once they've completed, band usually I'll go home, you know what I mean? But these are things which, obviously, I don't want to glamorize on social media because I don't want to show I'm harder working than anyone else, you know what I mean? Because I know, you know what I mean? I keep it real with myself.
Nah, man, I think you should put it out there, bro. Let the people know, innit? Yeah. At the end of the day, you've grafted, innit? You've grafted, and then I think people will appreciate that, knowing the amount of graft that goes on behind it. Because, like I said, it's so easy to look at someone like yourself and then see what you've accomplished and be like, oh yeah, fair play. But then, showing the reality. It's why, like vlogs, people that vlog, they're very popular because people like to see the behind the scenes. Yeah. I think if you were to start like a vlog blog,
I did do Aesthetic Weekly. It was on YouTube, and same, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but it was the second most weekly viewed in the country.
Yeah. Why do you continue?
We've done 10 weeks.
It'd be sick to do.
We've done 10 weeks, and it was really good. So
did
I
you
showed
vlog
how
this?
the business is running. I showed my aspect of training. I showed working with the boxing lads. I showed it traveling around. So it was quite good fun, to be fair. It was good fun. Yeah, but then it was just too much, the camera geezer. So when there was a 2-seater car, I had to get another car to get in there as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was good. It was good. But then at the same time, sometimes I always like to say my private life's better than my public one. So sometimes keep myself to myself.
Oh, fair play, man. Fair play. Another thing I've noticed, especially, with your whole journey, is that you keep your faith very close to your heart.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I like to say that, but then same, like I says, I'm not no saint. We're all sinners in our own way. But by me posting certain things up, it's a reminder to myself before it's a reminder to anyone else. Yeah. So that's very, very clear, and I mentioned it in the last podcast, but Sheikh Bishakab Shami, you know what I mean? They've helped me so much in my whole journey. From every venture I've done since I've known him in 2016, Hasib, Habib, they've always come, they've always done a dua, they've always guided me in terms of how to read certain stuff. And this is stuff which is not talked about again, in our community. We're made to believe that we should know everything. Why? Because obviously we're from Muslim parents or Pakistani culture, so we don't know a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? It wasn't then same I could come on a podcast which will get thousands of views and I could say on here, it was very far in my life where I knew how to do my wuzu properly. It was very, very far in my life till I knew how to read my namaz properly. Do you know what I mean? So there's people out there that will help you. So don't think you're in a situation where, it's too late. There's a position for everything. You know what I mean? It wasn't not long ago where I used to read and I used to put YouTube on, play the namaz, and then I used to read it in according to that. And then obviously at that time, same, I was 28, 29, and I was getting one-to-one sessions, you could call it personal training sessions, by Jawad from Kanzul Huda from Beach Sakib Shami, and he was teaching me how to read everything properly. You know, so these are things that everyone goes through, but you know, it's very important to talk about these things and be made aware, because not everyone's all of a sudden gonna know everything.
Going back to a point that you said, like, did you ever feel as if in your life, because you were so distant from, you know, Islam and everything, did you feel as if maybe it is too late? Did that ever come across?
It never ever came to me that it was too late, but I just thought, you know, in the South Asian community, I'd say the Pakistani community and the Bengali community, you know, we're told to go to the mosque. We're getting taught. So we finish school, we go to the mosque, 6 till 7, you're at the mosque. In that hour, you know what I mean? You're reading that, and then you're coming back. What are you reading? Why are you reading it? What is the purpose behind it? Do you know what I mean? It's forced, isn't it?
Yeah.
And anything that's forced, like I said, if training's forced onto you, when you don't have to do it, you're not going to do it.
You're right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when that was forced upon us in that mosque time, and then when you're not old enough to go to the mosque now, mom and dad can't send you to the mosque, you're not going to do it again, are you? But same with my generation, like I said, it's not forced upon us now. So it's very important to take that time out, you know what I mean? Get your one-to-one. It's never too late, man.
No, that's a good point, actually, because, like, for example, when you're younger, like girls, for example, if they're told to wear a scarf, human nature is to rebel. Like, if I was to tell someone to do something, their human nature is to say, no, I'm not going to do it because you've told me to. So it's the same with a lot of parents, especially I think it's like the older generation, where it was like you said, you're just told what to do. You have to go to the mosque. You have to read namaz, but why am I doing it? They're not understanding.
You wouldn't know every action should have a purpose in it. So why are we doing that?
Yeah.
So, you know, with every action, it should have a purpose. So we know, you know, why we're reading it. What does it mean? Do you know what I mean? Your namaz would be so much more better when you know exactly what you're reading. But by no means am I saying that the older generation don't know what they're saying. Do you know what I mean? That would be me being so disrespectful. You know, I never read something, I watched something the other day, and it was like this. You know, you've done a few jiu-jitsu sessions, and you thinking for a year, and you think you could eat up Habib. No, Habib will chew you up and spit you out. Vice versa. I can't read 2 books and say I know more than the Ustadji. Ustadji's been doing it for 15 years. The gap's too long. I will never be able to do it. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So it's very important to learn of Ustadji. Vice versa, for someone in the gym, it's very important to learn from someone like that. Don't think you know anything more than anybody else.
I like that. Because I think it is a habit of people where
we learn something and think we know everything.
Yeah, like I might have this podcast with you, learn a few things about, I don't know, fitness, and then go to the next man and think I know it all. Yeah. And it happens because
in the fitness industry, what tends to happen is someone will do a 10-week program with me, and next thing I'll see, they become an online coach.
Have you had that? Have you had it?
You have it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, you know. I mean, I'm allowed to support them the full way, and it's good that the fitness is growing in that way. But what do you actually know?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Same, like I says, I'll say it's a podcast. It is what it is. You know, people will say, well, you charge £60 a session. You know what I mean? For an hour, how are you charging that? Because I've been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
15 years of graph, 15 years of studying. Like even now, like I'm still studying stuff. You know what I mean? Like I says, the beauty about the health and fitness and sciences, it changes every single day. So you can't tell me you've done a 4-week crash course on personal training and now you know everything, because you can't. Do you know what I mean? I did 3 years at college. I did 4 years at university. You know what I mean? That's a lot of studying. And then furthermore, I'm still doing additional courses till the age. You know, so you've got to know, innit? You know, and even now, like I says, I will still say I don't know anything. You know what I mean? You don't, because you're still learning on job.
I think, again, this is another point where people will do these courses and then they'll go on like they were a guru, a health fitness guru or whatever. And it's like, you know, you like, for example, you've been in this industry for many years, and not just been in this in the industry, not just studied the industry, but you've executed in it. You've got your own gyms. You know, you've opened this. Like, you can't buy experience and you can't learn experience.
No way. You know, they say there's a saying, and the saying goes, been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. I've got a wardrobe full of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's not me being big-headed. It is the truth. I can show you receipts. Do Do you know what I mean? The receipts are the trophy cabinets. The receipts are the various clients who have had successful journey. The receipts are not even that, to be fair. The receipts are coaches who I've made very successful coaches. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then what gets to me now is at this day and age is, and the same, like I said, it might sound very blunt or bitter, but you know, now there's people on there who are mentoring other people on how to become successful. But I'm saying, Bedjin, you're not successful. You know what I mean? So, you know, how are we going through this? And this is a true story. There's a guy called Josh Mooney. I'll say his name on here. Hopefully he watches the podcast. He's messaged me now and he says to me, I know I could help you get to a 6-figure business. So I says, all right, wicked, I can do this.
Wait, he messaged you?
He messaged me. Okay. So he's just obviously looked at social media and obviously whatnot. He's a lad from London. He's got a beautiful social media page, you know, R8, top off, And I says, yeah, wicked, how can we do this? Schedule a call. Okay, yeah, wicked, I'll schedule a call. Can you call me at 2 o'clock? Call me at 2 o'clock. Okay, what do you do? He says, I do PT and how many clients you got? Told him, he's gone, oh, that's really good. How many online you got? I told him, he's gone, oh, that's really good. Got Jimmy, I've got 2. Oh, okay. What do you do, Joss? So now Joss don't really know what to do, so Joss wants to come meet me. But the thing is, this is the situation that we live in now. If he spoke to somebody else and he would have sold him that course for 200 quid or 300 quid or whatever, and I'm going to make you very successful. But Bedjin, you're not successful, so how are you going to make someone successful? The biggest thing in life is experience, and you can't buy that. Do you know what I mean? You can read as many books as you want, but if you ain't experienced that, you're not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? I could read here and read journal articles in terms of how I'm going to fight this war. Until I ain't been to war, I'm never going to know what war is. As dramatic as it is, that's
glad you said
the
that.
reality of life.
People need to be called out on their bullshit, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, and there's too much of it. Do you know what I mean? Now you see people, you know, we're going to bring this business model out where we're going to do high ticket sales and our content needs to be in this way. But your content's very simple. Do you know what I mean? I put a video up every other day. Do you know what I mean? I put a video up every other day. I'm not going to think about it. I need to edit it in this way, get this angle in. I need to make sure I get my Louis Vuitton bag in. Or I need to get my car badge in, etc. Nobody cares. They've seen your video. They're going to watch the next one. If they see more videos, they're going to see more of you. Do you know what I mean? So don't spend 6-7 days on making that one video trying to make a masterclass. Because if someone wants to watch that, they'll watch a Quentin Tarantino video. Do you know what I mean? All this social media, they're just going to scroll through. So don't buy into these marketing managers that are going to do everything in this way. Don't get me wrong, obviously, when you need to take like a bad boy picture or something, you can't take that on your phone, so you get someone and take a picture. But when you're looking at, you know, just building your social media profile and you're paying people £1,200-1,300 in terms of what to post. If you don't know what to post for your own brand, then you're in the wrong business. Think about it. If I've got someone in there now telling me, Waheed, you're a coach. So as a coach, you need to show, Waheed, this is your gym. So I want you to show your hot yoga studio. What is your hot yoga studio? I want you to, if I don't know that myself, I don't know business.
Yeah.
Think about it, you know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying. The only argument I'd say against that is, like you said, you know, you've not just got this, you've also got the gym and you've got a few other bits and bobs. It's a lot of the times it's time. Yeah. So if you're paying someone else to manage your marketing and everything, it's probably because you want to save a bit of time.
No, but they're telling me what to post.
Telling you what to post. Again, bro, you're a very clued on guy. Yeah, you've been on social media for a little while now. I'm
glad you said that now. I'm not talking about, so me really, I should have someone to do all this for me. Does it make sense? But me, like I said, I'm very controlling. I like to know everything what's happening. But now, if I've got into business now and this is my first job as a personal trainer, now you've got to give your time on personal training.
Yeah, I hear that.
So now why the heck am I employing someone else to do my social media for me?
Yeah.
Imagine learn your social media yourself.
Yeah. It's your, but again, I'm going to say this is because you've got that business acumen. Yeah.
I'd say it's common sense.
To you, it might be. And trust me, I used to think like that. Yeah. I used to think like, when it comes to business, so I know someone, that was in business with someone. And he just assumed that they both was on the same page when it came to business. But he was so wrong about it. You know, my mate, he was like, he was willing to do anything and everything when it came to business, social media, logo, designing, even the aesthetics of the place. He was very on job. Even if he had to learn about it, he would do it. Whereas the other person was like, we'll just pay someone to do it. So as much as you're like, just learn it, or you? I agree with you 100,000,000%.
No. I totally agree with you on that aspect as well. There's always going to be someone better than you if it's not your forte. Marketing's not my forte. Photography is not my forte. Video is not my forte. My forte is health and fitness. So I know health and fitness. So if I know health and fitness and I know what I'm providing,
I agree.
So I should be able to tell you what I'm providing. Why? Because I believe in my product. And like I said,
naturally,
we will always rise to the top. So now if someone else is telling me what to post about my product, that means I don't know my product.
No, I hear that. You don't know what you're selling at that point. Yeah, I agree with that.
But like I said, I don't know how to design logos, so I'll get the best logo designer to design that. Does it make sense? But even going back to the logo, going back onto my logo has been produced 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I produced this logo. T, can we just have you here for 1 second, please? Because T's wearing my jacket. So I could just show you.
Yeah.
T, can we just show just that jacket?
Just get into one of the...
Just get into that camera there. Yeah, can we see it in there? Okay, so we're here now. This logo was done 15 years ago. And it wasn't like... Can we see it?
Oh, yeah.
Wait. Okay. This logo was done 15 years ago. Abs, have a look at that logo now, yeah? And I'm not no logo designer or nothing. But people just took logos down together. This was when I was at university, so I always wanted knowledge. So if you look at the bottom, there's a book, knowledge.
If they can't see it, I'll put it up on the screen,
Knowledge. What is knowledge? What have I said in this podcast? Everlasting, you're never going to forget. What's a pyramid? Everlasting, it's never going to forget, yeah? In the background, you'll see a silhouette. And that silhouette is of myself, my first ever photo shoot. So that's always me.
So that's a silhouette of yourself, is
that's
it?
That's a silhouette of myself. My first ever photo shoot. Then aesthetic you hear that a lot now. I said aesthetic 15 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
It's true. I was thinking of that actually. I think when we done the first podcast, because aesthetic, you've used that a very long time ago, but now every time Dick and Harry is aesthetics.
But what is aesthetic? You know what I mean? What is aesthetic? Can you tell me what aesthetic is?
What aesthetic is like what you look like, your aesthetic.
Pleasing to the eye.
Pleasing to the eye.
At that time, like I said, alhamdulillah, you know what I mean? I used to be a bit better looking, so I come from a modeling background. So aesthetic, pleasing to the eye. I always said physique should be pleasing to the eye. So, you know, that big look there, it may look good to the bodybuilding community, but it may not look good to everyone else. I've always wanted a physique which will be pleasing to the eye. And I've always tried to maintain a physique like that. So aesthetic. Then obviously we've got the W in the background, which is thingy. And then if you look at my nutrition one, it's exactly the same, but rather than the silhouette of myself, I've got chef. If you look at aesthetic wellness, it's exactly the same, but the person in the middle, what have I got? I've got an everlasting physio person. So, you know, these sort of things, think about them, because these are
I think what you're saying, don't deep shit. Just go, and if it feels right, go with the flow. And I think you're right. You know, your logo is important, but you make the logo. Your brand is making the logo. Like if you look at Apple logo, Apple's like one of the most valued businesses. I think it's coming towards like a $1 trillion company. Look at the logo. It's a basic apple with a thing cut out of it. Yeah. Look at Nike. Nike, you know how they made the logo? I was reading about Nike a little while ago. They were manufacturing one of their products and they didn't have a logo ready because they used to sell those Asics back in the day before Nike became Nike. And then the guy was like, I think he hired one of his apprentices or so. Quickly make me a logo so I can give it to the manufacturer. She just quickly did a Nike tick. Now look at it. It's one of the most valued brands out there. So I agree with you. So it's not everything. Okay, your logo, it means something to you. You created it yourself, but you.
Well, I could sit in I'm a firm believer in it. Every action should have a purpose. Does it make sense? And then, like I says, that's the purpose behind it. This is where it's gonna go. If I was to do like a food shop or something, then it'd be very thingy, you know what I mean? This is a bit personal. It's got my name to it. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's an extension of you, basically. Everything that you're doing, which is part of health and fitness, is an extension of you. This is something that you use every day, day in, day out. I'm sure if you were to open a restaurant tomorrow, you wouldn't use Waheed Aesthetic restaurant.
I probably would.
Just wanted to touch up, you know, like you were mentioning about coaches and... because I've heard the arguments of having a business coach and a business mentor. And again, I think we agree on this point is where you can't buy experience, you can't learn experience. And the example I gave was, if I was to, let's just say I didn't know how to drive and I came to a driving instructor and he told me theory-wise how to drive. This is how you go into gear, this is how you press the clutch, this is how you turn, this is how you indicate. I could sit with him for weeks and weeks, learning all the theory in the world. But as soon as I jump in the car, I'm still going to be on stage one, step one, and having to learn everything from scratch. And I think that's the same with business. You know, you can have a mentor sitting with you and guiding you and giving you a bit of guidance, but then you have to learn on the job anyway.
Having a business coach, like I said, there's pros and cons to it. Me personally, I could not have a business coach myself, but I understand why someone will have a business coach.
Yeah.
But then ask yourself the question, how's the business coach a business coach?
Yeah.
What successful businesses has he got?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What t-shirts has he got in the wardrobe? Do you know?
Bro, I've heard of this 15-year-old life coach.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Like, there's life coaches everywhere now, innit? But what life experiences have they got where they're giving you coaching in terms of how to live your life? So, like I says, yeah, fair enough. There could be that there could be, but just ask them the question. Any good coach is willing to answer any question. So you can come to me and ask me anything in regards to Waheed, why are we doing this exercise? Why are we eating this? Why are you telling me to do this? Why do you put them Normatex on me? If I can't answer them questions, you can think, you know what, he's not a good coach.
Yeah.
Same, vice versa. You speak to the business coach. Why are you
it's like having a fat personal trainer, isn't it?
But same with a fat personal trainer. What has that fat personal trainer done? What has he studied? What has he achieved? What other clients has he made achieve such a good thing? Like, I'll give you a prime example. Jose Mourinho never played football at the highest level, but greatest football manager ever. Potentially one of them. Yeah.
Interesting.
But same, like I said, on job, what did he do at Barcelona when he was there? Do you know what I mean? He was clued on. So, you know, there's pros and the cons for both of them in that aspect. Arsene Wenger never played football professionally, but wicked. You know, so you can say that. So I'm backing the coaches on that side.
Fair enough, actually. You know? Fair play.
You know,
because me personally, obviously, if I'm looking to get in shape, I'm going to take someone with a nice physique, his advice, more seriously than someone that's...
But this is another problem in the industry right about now. Someone builds their own physique and then they think they can coach other people. Does it make sense? Because a lot of people will think, yeah, because like I said, this is a philosophy which I use, and I say, don't judge a book by its cover. However, if the cover don't look good, Benjamin ain't picking it up to read it in the first place. So always look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously it's very important to look good. It's always very important to look good. However, there could be many reasons why someone's not in shape, etc. But then you ask, what are their previous credentials? Have they ever looked good? Or is there any other client that they've made look good? Do you know?
That's a fair point, actually. Okay, someone that might not be in shape at that current time may have been in the best shape ever.
Previously, yeah.
So he will know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Okay. But then vice versa, like I said, it's very easy to get yourself into great shape. Now I've got myself into great shape. But hypothetically talking, I've got some of my clients in the greatest shape ever. Do you know what I mean? But are they in a position to coach other people now to get into great shape? Because they only know what I've told them and what suited them, what I've told them.
And what suiting them doesn't necessarily have to
It's not going to suit everyone else, no, 1,000,000%.
And this is a thing, I think. You know, to become a fitness coach, do you have to have any actual qualifications?
The qualifications in themselves are bollocks. You do a 4-week course, and in 4 weeks you ain't learning shit. So tell me what you're going to learn in 4 weeks.
But is there to become a doctor, you have to be qualified and graduate?
It's just a 4-week course, and in that 4 weeks, like I said, you're learning how to
basics.
Pick a barbell up, and you're not even learning, like I says, you're learning nutritional guideline. You're not learning the diet, etc. Does it make sense? So you're not really in a position to dictate one's health and fitness after a 4-week course. That's me saying it as brutal, as honest as it is. And me saying it, like I said, I've run my own personal training course, Aesthetic Academy, very successful. In 2018, when I graduated 80 personal trainers in the West Midlands region under my own qualification. So there's my t-shirt.
So what would you recommend to someone that's probably looking to get into this industry?
Into this industry, I'd say learn your craft. Learn your craft, do extensive reading. Go out, do extensive courses. Do you know what I mean? Just don't do a 4-week course and think you're going to be on top of it, because like I says, the cream will always rise to the top. So like I said, you can get into great shape, get a great social media marketing manager, get some great pictures, great content. You get 5-6 clients in straight away.
Yeah.
But then they'll realize you're bullshit. And then someone else who studied and not so bothered about their social media content, but they've worked with that one client said he was wicked. He's gone to somebody else. The word of mouth's got around. And now that geezer's still going. Longevity. He always wins the race.
What were some of the mistakes that you probably made as you built up your career to kind of give advice?
Mistakes I made doing
Okay, maybe not mistakes, maybe like life lessons, yeah? But something that kind of hindered your progression. Because look, let's face it, anyone that's even semi-successful has been through some sort of hardship, mistakes. I can look back even when I first started my dessert shop, I could tell you a million things that I went wrong to kind of... So if I was to give advice to someone, I could save them a bit of time or a bit of, be mindful of certain things. So if someone was to if someone is starting from ground zero and you were to advise them to stay away from a few pitfalls in business, is this something that you can advise them on?
I'd say don't be afraid to spend money.
Okay.
Invest in your tools.
Okay, so don't cut corners.
Don't cut corners, like I've always says, you know what I mean? In terms of, when I say that in simple terms, is like I says, back in the day, I invested in, like proper skin fold calipers. So I was getting proper skin fold measurements of clients, etc. You know what I mean? Or I'd make sure, because when I first started PTing, I was doing an alleyway. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
So I never used to rent gym space because I was new to the game. You know what I mean? So I used to do clients in like an alleyway space. So we use the terminology functional fitness nowadays, and functional fitness, people are thinking it's just like running on a treadmill and doing a ski erg and doing a row out. Functional fitness, in reality, the terminology or the definition of functional fitness is real life movements. So real life movements is functional fitness. And so I used to do functional fitness in an alleyway where we used to use like power bags, because I afforded a power bag. Power bag, I think, cost me like £33 from Asda at the time.
When you say alleyway, what do you mean? Like an actual
alleyway? But you know what it is? I'll send you a video and you can put it in the podcast.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, because I've got some...
As in outside alleyway or like...
Outside alleyway. Outside
and
alleyway.
You have your clients there? And
I used to have clients there, so we'd have a tyre, we'd have a sledgehammer, we'll do real life movements. We'd have a power bag, which we'll do clean and presses with, we'll do squats with, we'll do deadlifts with. We'd have a medicine ball to slam on the floor, and then we'll do sprints and shuttle running, etc. And I had some great results from there, to be fair. And then, like I said, I moved into a gym, started paying some gym rent. From the gym, as I started doing that, started getting into my doner kebab business, which done really well. And from the doner kebab, I opened a personal training studio. I'm just doing everything in a quick nutshell for you now, yeah? So quick timeline. Personal training studio done really well. Started working with Asiana from a modeling thing, so I was getting bride and grooms ready for wedding days. And at the same time, I started working with many elite athletes, footballers, boxers, cricketers. We're talking matchroom boxing, you know what I mean? We're talking Sam Eggington, Frankie Gavin, Craig Cunningham, Lennox Leon, Sean Davis. And then from there, we bought a bigger gym, like a big gym now. From then, I had a little blip. I don't want to go into it too much, but made friends with the wrong individuals. Moved out. Bought another gym in Smallleaf and Digbeth. Alhamdulillah, did really well. Moved over to Sutton Coldfield. Alhamdulillah, this gym's doing really well. And then bam, went into aesthetic wellness and fitness and recovery now.
MashaAllah, nice, quick
one. Because you know what it is, I spoke about it so many times on other podcasts, I don't want to be too repetitive.
I think we spoke about it on our first episode, where we kind of went through sort of the stages of kind of how you built yourself up. And then since then, obviously, mashallah, you've done a few things, one of them being the meal preps and also this, mashallah. And you can just tell like he's going to do well, and I'm sure he's already doing well. In regards to like business, like what's the end goal? Like what would you say your success would be?
I'd like to think, you know what it is, success is contentment.
Okay.
That's what I've learned with life. That's what I've learned with experiences.
What keeps you driven then? Like what keeps you wanting to kind of do better?
I enjoy what I do.
Okay.
That's what keeps me going. You know what I mean? Like 6 o'clock in the evening is the time where I like to chill. But 6 o'clock in the evening, I train people who I enjoy training. So that gets me out, and I don't mind doing that. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather chill at that 6 o'clock if it was anybody else. But because at 6 o'clock I enjoy doing that, I enjoy it. 6 o'clock in the morning, every morning, I enjoy training at 6 o'clock in the morning. So
I'll rate you for that, but fair play to you.
I enjoy that.
Has there been moments where you thought, yo, scrap this, man, I want to try something else?
There's been moments where I've said, you know what, F the fitness industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I just see it's a big facade at this moment in time. Do you know what it is? Like I says, everyone's like this motivational guy. You could put a video on TikTok with David Goggins in the background or a Habib quote, and then all of a sudden on social media, you're this person. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's a bollocks. People are making content for the sake of making content with no benefit at all. Do you know what I mean? So they're becoming content creators with no content. And
I think it's probably more frustrating when people are falling for their shit.
For me, like I said, it makes no difference. But you know, you just go sometimes through your timeline. So if I was to tell you the God's honest truth, I actually don't even go through my timeline. I actually go and post onto my thingies, and then there's a group of us, about 6-7 of us. I'd say tops 10. There's tops 10 people on my social media who I actually look at, and that's it.
But I can't remember who it was actually. They said like your timeline, you got to be mindful of them now who we're following, because when we're consuming bullshit online, that's going into our subconscious, and we're you are what you put in it. So if you're feeding your mind with bullshit, that's what you're going to be spitting out.
That's what it is. This is the thing now, and it's social media. You're what's the word now? You are exposed to stuff which you wouldn't be exposed to in real life. So you actually are still getting exposed to it. So hypothetically talking, back in the day, when would you actually see a Bugatti? You'd probably see it once in a blue. Now you're seeing them all the time. Back in the time, when would you actually see like a blinged out AP or a Patek Philippe? You wouldn't. You see it all the time. So now because it's accessible on social media, you're made to believe that it's there. You could get it. Does it make sense? But in reality, people ain't got that shit.
You're right, man.
Do you know what I mean? But now we're made to believe that. Does it make sense? You see on social media, you'll see 8-pack, you'll see oiled up physique, you're seeing it all the time now. So now you're thinking, bloody hell, that's so easily attainable. But in reality, it's not. But social media is making you think that.
That's right.
Does it make sense? You're looking at all this sort of
we're
stuff.
We're getting desensitized.
We're not living in the real world, and this is the problem.
I don't know about you, man. I remember back in the day when we were younger, when we used to see a limousine on the road, we used to get gassed.
Yeah.
Now you see a Lamborghini, you just look at a Lamborghini, okay, nice car, you don't even look twice again. Because we're so desensitized by social media. That's a good point, actually. I didn't really think
this is how everything's running.
So, if you weren't in the fitness industry, do you ever get bored of the industry though? Like, you know, like I'm assuming like you've been doing this for years now, innit? So I'm just thinking like, has there been moments where I know you're kind of sick of the industry because of the bullshit, but I mean yourself, like, do you ever get bored of it?
Nah, because you know what it is? I've got a wide range of clients who I love training. So I've got people at the elite level, do you know, like elite level boxers, professional boxers. I've got professional footballers. Then I've got people who just want to train for the sake of training. Then I've got people who really want to get fit for a purpose, for instance, you know, for longevity of their life, you know, to spend time with their kids, etc. So it's working with different people throughout the week. Keeps you going, and does it make sense?
Okay, talking about that, you know, a lot of your clients, I've heard this saying where, you know, if you work on your fitness, you'll start seeing every other aspect of your life get better naturally. You know, there was one guy that was saying, since I got fit, since I've, you know, even just aesthetically looking good, his finances have gone up. Mm-hmm. He's in a healthier relationship. He's in a healthy relationship with his friends and family. Like, have you noticed that with your clients as well?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Because
remember, with your health and fitness, like I says, and it's discipline on yourself. So if you're putting discipline on yourself, you put discipline on at work then as well. Does it make sense? Yeah. Same, like I says, you're putting that hard work into yourself. You'll start putting it in everywhere else. You start to relate to a lot of things. And furthermore, same, you know, I says, don't judge a book by its cover, but if a man was to walk in a room and he's looking in a certain way with a physique like this, he's automatically going to get looked at differently, because they're looking at this guy and they're thinking, yeah, man, he's onto his thing. You know what I mean? He's up in the morning, he's doing his cardio, he's training, he's eating his good food. So we could do business with
I think naturally we're just going to think that to ourselves.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So like
you are going to judge without even judging properly.
But this is it though, you know what I mean? So it's that in that aspect, yeah, you should always try to always look after yourself. And that's what I've always says, but always look at it long term. Don't just think 10 weeks I'm going to do it, because then after 10 weeks you'll burn out. Make it a long-term goal.
If you weren't in this industry, is there any other industry that you'd like to...
Other than health and fitness?
Yeah.
If I was to tell you the God's honest truth, there's nothing else I know. I only know the health and fitness.
Fair. At least you know your lane, innit?
Yeah, this is what I say. Levels,
because there's people out there trying to do everything, innit?
Levels lane, know your level, stay in your lane.
I like your little one-liners, man. I like your little one-liners. We'll just talk about, you know, the Palestine situation.
Okay.
I know that's something close to your heart as well as myself, and it's heartbreaking to see what's going on. I know a lot of businesses are backing the cause. They've stopped selling products that are supporting the Israel movement. What would you like to say? Using the platform that you've got, the podcast that we're on today, what would you like to say to like people regarding the situation?
In regards to what's happening in Palestine, it's obviously we all know in it. It's atrocious. It's a genocide happening. There's nothing such. Like I says, I could say a lot of stuff on this podcast if I was to really go in on it. But we're on it. Let's keep it real raw. Me personally, like I says, everything that England, America, Israel are doing, Saudi Arabia, etc. I've got a lot of hatred for them. Do you know what I mean? In terms of what's happening, the Western rules, the Western standards, disgraceful. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, you always look for the benefit out of everything that's happened. And I believe what's happening in Palestine with all these innocent people dying, which is, like I said, I'm not, saying anything that it should be done. But I feel like the normal day-to-day people have realized how shit England, America, and Israel are because of that. Do you know what I mean? Because of social media, thank God, because other stuff is so much more accessible to them and they're trying to see the real stuff, what's happening. So on that side, the benefit of it is a lot of people are actually going to realize of how much of a bollocks these people are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where before we're only meant to see the BBC News, ITV News, that's what we're made to believe. Do you know what I mean? Brown man, turban, beard, boom, terrorist. Now you realise the real terrorists are people like Biden and Rishi Sunak. Do you know 100%. What I mean?
I completely agree.
That other geezer, Netanyahu, whatever his name is.
You're right, bang on. It's crazy because we're living in a time where we're witnessing a genocide happening in real life, in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Like back in the day, like you said, there was no social media. So we was only listening to BBC and all this. They was feeding us one narrative, and we believed that because, that's all we knew. That's all the information that we could get a hold of. Whereas now, because of the people like Motaz and all these other people, we're actually seeing what's happening. And what Israel and all these other countries didn't realize is, because of this, there was this one guy that posted on social media, like your average white American, said that Palestine has won this war. Because there's people like me that thought everyone in Palestine was a terrorist. Majority of Muslims that he thought was terrorists. Whereas now, because of this and because of the awareness it's caused, a lot of people have started to do their research. And now they've realized, no, it's not Palestine, it's not Muslims, it's Israel. The Western world are the actual terrorists. And they're making it out like the Muslims are terrorists.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. So this is, like I says, that's the benefit we could take from this, and the truth should be revealed, innit?
Yeah.
And then with this, what you've got to realize, saying we've got these social media platforms, etc., and it's very important to bring that out there in terms of the right information for the people. Yeah. With my following, obviously you've mentioned before, I don't have many South Asian followers. Most of my followers are obviously of either Caucasian descent or Afro-Caribbean. And obviously, I get asked a lot of questions. You see the gym next door, it's predominantly white. 6 years ago when I moved in, I put the Palestine flag up there, and I've had questions, and I've always said, this is the reason, this is it, whatnot. And now it's quite heartwarming when I see other brothers close who are not Muslim, who are not Asian, who are supporting Palestine, who have boycotted the Israel stuff, and who are reposting stuff, the likes of Dr. Omar Suleiman, I respect him quite highly, to be fair. And I find it quite, heartwarming that, what it is, we've used our social media platform in the right way. Yeah. And people have been made aware of exactly what's happening. And, I've had other friends who's totally oblivious to what's happening in the world, which I don't blame them, because we live in this society where we're not made to believe what we're not known. But people are reading into things a lot more. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What's happening in Yemen? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're bombing probably potentially one of the poorest countries in the bloody world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they are the poorest.
But yet these men are taking all our bloody tax and that to do that. Yeah, exactly. So you've got to realize, what are we actually doing?
Yeah, and people always
and what have they done? They've just said, stop a genocide. They've not killed no one. We've just stopped it. You're not making no money. Stop the genocide. Because they've done that, boom, we're bombing them.
And killing. Yemen hasn't killed no one.
So make it make sense.
And yet, Yemen are the bad ones.
Yeah, I know. They're my heroes.
Heroes.
They're my heroes.
But it's nice to see that.
Hold tight, all the Yemenis, you know what I mean? For those who know, LAK, they'll know.
Jeez, shout. No, literally, bro, like, so much love for Yemen right about now. Because out of the very few countries that should be supporting, it's one of the poorest countries out there. And they're not even doing it in a shy way. They're doing
and
it
same,
with
like I
chest.
says, I'm from Pakistani heritage. And same, you know what I mean? Those want to boycott me. But like I says, I've got no sympathy for Pakistan with Iran at this moment in time. So yeah, it is what it is.
No, fair play, man. And it is upsetting, bro, when you see countries, even in the UAE, not even saying anything, doing anything.
But
Apparently, I don't know how true this is, yeah?
You know, I'll just put this in a very simple form, innit? So we're made to believe that if you are not following the Western society, you're in the Stone Age.
100%.
But why is someone made to do something what they don't want to do this? Let them do it. You know, levels, lanes, they're in the level. They know the level. They're staying in the lane. Why are you bothering them? Just leave them alone. Do you know what I mean? But this is the situation. You know what I mean? So like now, Saudi, Dubai, they're following the Western culture. They're cool. Does it make sense? Anyone that's not, they're
no,
radical.
but what's happening in Saudi, bro, is the way they're turning that country, they're turning into a Western world, innit?
But you know, I could go into so much little theories and stuff what I've read into, and it was going into a rabbit hole, but they're pretty much sold out, and they were sold out a long time ago.
Have you seen what Saudi's doing? I think it was Saudi. They're opening, you know, because Yemen's blocked off the routes for all their stuff. Saudi's making it easier for Israel to bring this.
It's mad. You know, we're saying about raising awareness, etc. Saudi Arabia had the boxing event in there. Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou, they had every single superstar in the world there. Does it make sense? At this stage, like I said, I think it was day 44 of the genocide. So, you know, everyone's really trying to push this out. Yeah. Saudi Arabia banned Palestinian flags to be mentioned in that whole boxing arena. No, there was no mention of it at all.
Wait, was this the one that Aleem got pulled up on?
No, his was here in England.
Oh, was that here? Oh, yeah.
His was there in England. So, you know,
and this is Saudi, bro.
And this is Saudi. You know what I mean?
But this is the thing. This is why I always like to bring it up on every podcast that I do now, yeah? Is because, one, you know, with social media, we get desensitized with things, just like we see cars all the time. It's got to a point now where people are looking at these videos of Palestine. And I'm not just talking about normal videos. I'm talking like kids, babies' heads blown off. I'm talking videos where that can make a full-grown man cry. In tears, you can break it down. But it's getting to a point where people are just disregarding him now. Oh yeah, he'll get better. You know, they'll carry on watching their comedies or whatever. So as much as we're kind of getting desensitized to it, we still need to be talking about it.
1,000,000%. Don't stop.
Yeah.
And you don't stop now, like I says, you know, if there be a ceasefire and they stop, you don't stop there. Because
don't stop the boycotts.
This is where people, you know, got to realize, you know, all that damage that's been done there, that's going to take 5, 10, 15 years to fix. So we need to continue to do that. Do you know what I mean? This tends to happen a lot in our community. We say, you know, it's done now, so we move on. No, but remember.
What do you think of the boycotts?
Say that again.
What do you think of the boycotts?
Boycotts, like I says, I don't know the ins and the outs in terms of how it's affecting businesses, etc. But me morally, I couldn't support it, so therefore I boycotted everything.
Okay, that's fair.
You know what I mean? So me on the air, if I was to tell you that, I'm giving a fatwa that this, no, I don't know how's it affecting, because I've read certain things that it's not actually affecting franchise holders, etc. So I don't know, but me morally, I couldn't support it, so therefore I've boycotted anything to do with Israel.
My point on the whole boycott thing is, even from like a psychological point of view, okay, let's just say hypothetically, you boycotting McDonald's isn't benefiting Palestinians in any way. But you got to understand, McDonald's has openly supporting the IDF, yeah? So we're going to go against that business. Yeah, so if anyone else decides to support IDF and the Israelis, we're boycotting you as well. Yeah. So even which shows that the world is on the Palestinian side, which is the right side of history. Do you get me? So even from that aspect, it still works. So any businesses that decides that they want to start supporting a genocide, you're finished.
Yeah, like I says, you know what it is? The people power is so strong, and if everyone just sticks together and keep it moving like that. But same, like I says, it's having a major effect. There was a Starbucks thing, you know, and they run an advert, and they want a woman with a hijab on there. Do you know what I mean? So obviously it's affecting them.
Watermelon mugs as well.
Yeah, so that's it. Keep boycotting everyone, keep doing their thing, and inshallah, like I says, better times to come.
Wicked. We're coming towards the end of the podcast. What's next for Waheed?
With Waheed, I know at the moment I'm heavily involved with the boxing, from the amateurs to the pros.
Wait, there was. I remember we spoke last time. You were getting involved in boxing.
Yeah. We've continued to do that. Like I said, alhamdulillah, the Pound for Pound Boxing Academy now. There's 9 branches around the world.
No, I mean about you, like getting involved in boxing personally.
Me boxing myself.
Yeah.
Like I said, do I really want to be on an influencer show at this big age? You know what I mean? I've been offered by a few people to go on to a show, etc. But
would you ever get into YouTube boxing?
No, I'm too old for it.
Nah, man, bro, how old are you? 32. You're younger than me, man.
What you've got to realize now is, I'm working with good level boxers, elite level boxers. Could I go on a show and fight someone? But most likely I would be like a YouTuber.
Right, if the bag was right, though.
You know what I mean?
If the bag was right.
No, most likely, you know what I mean? I'd like to think that I'd beat someone like that. But then, is that giving the right message to the boxers who I'm trying to bring up to, just allow you?
But YouTube boxing is getting serious now.
Yeah, but is it
like
boxing?
But this is the argument that I was having with people, where at first it was just a bunch of idiots boxing, but these YouTubers are starting to take it. Like they're training like full professional boxers now.
Yeah, but this is
they've got a full on team because they've got the money and they've got the audience.
I'll give you an example. The same example which I gave you. You've done a bit of UFC and you think you can fight Habib. Remember that gap? It's too big. I'll give you an example now. Dilly, the little man. He's been boxing since the age of 8. Yeah.
Oh yeah, your little one. Yeah.
He's now 12. By the time he's 16, he'll most likely kick shit out of me. Yeah.
He'll smoke anyone.
So bear in mind, from 8 to 16, he's been boxing. Yeah. So by the time he's 21, he's going to be at a very, very good level. Yeah. So now for a YouTube boxer to do an 8-week camp, is he ever going to be on that skill set level there?
I get what you're saying.
It's too much of a gap. So that is not the boxing that don't get me wrong, it's wicked that boxing's growing and they're making their money, etc. But there's levels in it.
No, I agree. I agree. I think
so. This is the thing. So like Tommy Fury, below average professional boxer in terms of levels.
I agree.
But YouTube boxing really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So stick to YouTube boxing, levels, lanes. No, does it make sense? Allow that one.
See, because when you had that fight with not Logan Paul, what's the other guy?
KSI.
No, not Logan Paul, his brother, younger
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. Okay, so because people were cussing Jake Paul for boxing, no actual boxers. Tommy Fury is meant to be an actual boxer. Like you said, below average boxer. And everyone gassed him, saying, you beat... wait, who won? No, Tommy Fury.
Yeah,
Tommy Fury just about won a YouTuber.
Yeah.
So his kind of reputation, in my eyes, kind of went down.
Yeah, it went down, but then at the same time, like I says, for those who know boxing, etc., like he's not very a seasoned boxer at the same time. When we're talking seasoned boxers, we're talking boxers from a young age.
We forgot that because...
we're just made to believe he's a boxer because of the Fury
because of the marketing.
Does it make sense? But he's not really a seasoned boxer. But then if you look at someone like Billy Joe Saunders, like they'll wipe the floor with anyone because obviously they're seasoned boxers. They've been boxing from a young age and etc. They've done the camps. All he's done is Tyson Fury's brother, and he's done a few little camps with him, 1 week, 2 week, bam, just kept it moving, part-timing. But if he was to put like a proper craft in, but he's not really a boxer.
I'll get what you're saying. But I had another boxer on the podcast. He was saying because he can't give the time to go professional, YouTube boxing works perfectly for him because he's a personal trainer as well, and he does boxing on the side. And YouTube works for him because the opponents, man, he will smoke him anyway, and he doesn't have to dedicate all of his time for boxing, and the money is probably a little bit better. I don't know how true that is. Yeah, the money would be a lot better in the YouTube boxing. In the professional boxing, the money is not amazing unless you are in like a top tier, and to be in the top tier is going to take years and years and years. And same because social media is so accessible to us, and we're seeing the £1 million and the 2 million and the $4 million purse, etc. Remember, them purses are only for the likes of Canelo, Terence Crawford, Devin Haney. But then what about the boxers who are fighting the small old shows who are walking away with about £700, £800, £900? So there's a big gap in it.
Yeah, it's a big gap. And to close that gap is going to take a long while, unless you're of exceptional talent. Yeah. Unless you're of exceptional talent. Like I says, anyone now, you go into a Villa Academy or Blues Academy, West Brom Academy, what they have in play is now there'll only be 2 players who they know who are going to be professional and at another level. But the other 22 players are only there to help them two players progress.
I
So
get that,
how
I get
unfair is it for them over 22, from the age of 12 up until the age of 18, the training at Birmingham City, and they're thinking that we're going to make it, but they're only pushing them two players.
But it's so competitive. That's why it's
Yeah, but
like
this is why it's
everyone wants their son to be a footballer
and
because
it's
of the
hard.
money.
And what I always say to anyone, like I says, I get a lot of parents coming and bringing their kids in to do some SNC or do some sports-specific work for football, etc. And I said, it's too much for the kid. Let the kid enjoy himself. If the kid's good enough, he will get seen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He will get seen.
So with football, is it like you have to have both talent and hard work? You reckon, like, let's just say I've got a kid now. I want him to become a footballer. He wants to become a footballer. Can just pure hard work and dedication get him there, or does he have to have an element of talent?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Ronaldo's a perfect example of that.
Oh yeah, true.
He's a perfect example of that. But then, like I says, consistency. He's done it for 25 years.
Graft
At the highest level. I'm not talking about 25 years in his life. He's done it his whole life. Like I says, he's 39. He's probably done it for about 35 years. But I'm on about the highest level to do that day in, day out. It just goes to show, being at that age and still playing and still scoring, etc.
Proper dedication.
It's a different element, that is.
What I've noticed about the elites is, like for Khabib, for example, Ronaldo, even when they get to a point where like they're the best of the best, they still don't hold back. They're still training. They're still training like they're trying to prove something. Like Ronaldo, he's shape. I think he's. They were saying his body's like a 22-year-old. Like that's how fit he is.
Yeah, it would be. And he's heavily dependent upon the cryo chamber. For those of you interested,
he uses all that stuff as well.
Yeah. This is like the elites. Like I says, they cut no corners.
Fair play.
They cut no corners, and recovery is a major thing in that. Do you know what I mean? Because we're not, like he says in the beginning of the podcast, you're not the same as you was before in terms of recovery, etc. Your body will change, but your physical attributes are not going to be the same. So what you're going to put in place now, your wellness and recovery. So you got to make sure that's done at a top tier.
Now, fair play. Like you obviously can tell, one, you enjoy what you're doing. You're not shy from any hard work. So may Allah increase your risk, increase your business, inshallah. If anyone wanted to get in touch with you to kind of even just have a look around or sign up or kind of get familiar with your business, like what's the best way for them?
Instagram, Waheed Aesthetic.
You just reach out, DM.
Yeah, just reach out.
And you'll get back to them.
Yeah, I'll try to.
Oh, while we're here, let's talk a little bit. What's the membership like? How does it work? Can you just walk in? Do you have to sign up?
For this place here, basically we have 37 classes per week. So we have ladies only classes, we have the hot yoga, we have body conditioning, we have ladies legs, bums and tums, we have functional fitness, we have strength classes, 37 classes from Monday to Sunday, certain times ladies only. And in that month you could do as many classes as you like, and it's a fee. We've got a promotional offer on now for the first month of £100, but after that it will be £160.
Okay.
£160.
And you could just do as many classes as you want.
As many classes as you want.
And you get to use all the facilities as well.
In terms of this is booking only.
So this is booking only.
Yeah, this is booking only. And then obviously you've got access to a doctor who could do your bloods, who could do your food intolerance, who could do your IV drips.
So you got the whole works in it basically. Yeah. So if anyone's interested, guys, just reach out. All the details will be below anyway. Anyway, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.